Okay, let's take a look and begin our fractions unit. So open up your fractions packet to page 1. And on page 1, we are going to talk about finding factors. Today we're going to look at factors and multiples. This should be both review of concepts we've already learned, but we're going to learn another part of it so we can relate it to fractions. So factors are the numbers you multiply to get another number. For example, 2 times 3 is a product of 6. So 2 and 3 are factors of 6. But 1 times 6 is also equal to 6. So 1 and 6 are also factors of 6. So the factors of 6 would be 1, 2, 3, and 6. And if you recall, we connected our factors to make the rainbow, right? Our factors of 21, we had 1 times 21 and 3 times 7. So the factors of 21 are 1, 3, 7, and 21. Factors of 31 are simply 1 and 31. And if you remember, that made 31 a prime number, whereas 21 had other factors other than just 1 in itself, making it a composite number. And the factors of 24, we have 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. So let's find some factors of these other examples. 15, we would say 1 times 15, that's our high and our low. 2 times nothing gets us to a 15, but how about 3 times 5? That gets us a 15. For 25, we have 1 times 25. Always start with the 1 times the number. That's our low and our high factor, and work our way to the middle. Notice with the 25, we only have one other factor, and that's because we multiply 5 times itself. 5 times 5 is 25. For number 3, or for the number 3, we only have 1 times 3. A 27 would give us 1 times 27. 2 times nothing, but how about 3 times 9? And then 4 times nothing, 5 times nothing gets us a 27, 6, 7, and 8. None of those are factors of 27. For 18, we have 1 times 18, 2 times 9, right? And 3 times 6. 4 times nothing gets us an 18, and 5. So we've noticed we've gone from our high to our low and worked our way to the center. For 12, we have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. And notice listing them with our low and our high and working to the middle, notice no other numbers come between 3 and 4. Okay. So if we were going to try a couple more, let's try, well, we've already done 21 up above. Let's try a 16. 1 times 16. 2 times 8. Notice I'm separating them with commas. 3, nope, 3 doesn't get us there, but a 4 times a 4 does. And let's try the number 20. 1 times 20. 2 times 10, 3, nope, 3 doesn't get me there, 4 times 5, and that worked us to the center. Okay, now turn the page, because we can find the greatest common factor of two numbers. When you find all the factors of two or more numbers, and you find some factors are the same or in common, the largest of those common factors is called the greatest common factor. So for example, if we have the factors of 12 and we want to see what they have in common with 20, we list all the factors of 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Notice listing them gets me in order from lowest to highest. Then we do 20. 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5. Then we can go and see what do they have in common. They have a 1, a 2, a 4, 3 is not in both of them, 5, 6, nope, 10 is not in both of them, 12, no, and 20. So the common factors are 1, 2, and 4, and the greatest common factor is 4. So we would say 4 is the greatest common factor of 12 and 20. Okay? Now, if we wanted to try and find the greatest common factor of 6 and 15, we need to make our lists, right? What are our factors of 6? 1 times 6, 2 times 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 6. 15 then is 1 times 15. 2 doesn't work. 3 times 5, and those are it. So what do they have in common? Circle what they have in common, a 1 and a 3, and the biggest number is 3, so our greatest common factor is 3. Okay, if we want to try a 9 and a 12, well, we would find our factors of 9 and then our factors of 12, and we would say 1 times 9, 2 doesn't get me to a 9, but 3 times 3. For a 12, we would say 1 times 12, 2 times 6, separate with commas, and 3 times 4. Okay, then we circle what they have in common. A 1, 2 doesn't work, but 3 does. 4, 6, 9, and 12 are not in common, so my greatest common factor is 3 between a 9 and a 12. Okay, now let's take a look here. Let's try our 24 and 32. We're not going to do all of these, but we'll try some of them. 24 and 32. Okay, 24, we have 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. 24 has a lot of factors. 32 would be 1 times 32, 2 times 16, 3 doesn't get me to a 32, 4 times 8, 5 doesn't get me to a 32, 6 doesn't, 7 doesn't. So let's circle the common factors. 1, 2, 4, and 8. And my greatest common factor is an 8. So we're going to learn about this as we simplify fractions. So greatest common factor we're going to use later on when we simplify fractions. Okay, so we're not going to do that today, but know that that's why we're trying to find the greatest common factor. We find the factors of each number, circle what they have in common, and the biggest one is our greatest common factor of those two numbers. Okay, if I want to try 4 and 6, I have 4 and 6, and I say 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. For a 6, I have 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. My common factors are 1 and 2. My greatest common factor is 2, because the other factors they have are not in common. Okay, let's take a look at the next page on multiples. So now we're on page 3, and a multiple, as review, is a product of a given whole number and another whole number. So we would say 1 times 3 equals 3, 2 times 3 equals 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12, 5 times 3 is 15, and so on. So if we wanted to know the first 5 multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. A multiple we find by skip counting. So these are your multiplication facts, right? Your multiplication of the number, right? So they're the multiplication facts. We find it by skip counting of the number, okay? If we want to find the 3's, we count by 3's. So if we want to find the first 5 multiples of 9, we need to count by 9's. 9 times 1 is 9, times 2 is 18, times 3 is 27, times 4 is 36, times 5 is 45. And notice that would be on our multiplication chart, right? Here's my multiplication chart, my 9s. I skip count 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. That's what I wrote down. So we could do the same thing for our 7s, right? Skip count by 7, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. The first 5 multiples of 2, count by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. First 5 multiples of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. The first 5 multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So we get times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. The first 5 multiples of 8, go down your 8s column, right? Start with that number because we have to do the times 1 fact. So 8, then 16, 24, 32, and 40. Okay. Now, for number 7, it says circle the numbers that are multiples of 6. Cross out the numbers that are not. So the multiples of 6, well, we would say 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, right? So is 16? Nope. 32? Nope. 36? Yes. If we would keep going, we would get to 42. We would not get to 45 because the next one is 48. Then we would get to 54 and 60. So 45 is not, 54 is, 56 is not. We listed some multiples of 9 up here, okay? So we could do this one. We would need to keep it going though, right? Or use your multiplication chart. Here's my multiples of 9, right? 27 is a multiple of 9. But notice 32 is not, 36 is, and if we keep going, 63 is. 71 is not, but 72 is. 74 is not, and 90, yes. Now, we could find the least common multiples of a number. Look at the next page. Find the least common multiple of 2 and 3. So multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. What do they have in common? Well, we're going to circle what they have in common. I see a 6. I see a 12, right? I see an 18. And I could probably keep going if I kept my lists going. But the ones we listed, 6, 12, and 18, our least common multiple of 2 and 3 is the 6. Because here we're looking for the smallest one, the least common multiple. Okay. The least common multiple we're going to use when we find, let me write it up here, use to find simplest form. We're going to use this least common multiple to divide our numerator and denominator by when we find simplest form of fractions, okay? So let's practice finding least common multiples though. If we need the least common multiple of 3 and 8, we need our multiples of 3 and our multiples of 8. And we get to stop listing them. Sorry about that. Stop listing them when we find what they have in common. So let's list our multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, 21, 24. For 8, we say 8, 16, 24. And I have found my least common multiple. That's the first one in the list that they have in common. So 24 is the least common multiple of 3 and 8. Sometimes it works that you have to multiply the two numbers together, as in this case. However, sometimes that isn't the case. Let's try the next one, 4 and 5. If we count by 4s, we say 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. If we count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, and I have now found one that they have in common. So the least common multiple is 20. Notice we had to multiply 4 times 5 to get that 20 again. However, check out number 10, or letter C. If we multiplied 10 and 40, we would get 400. But my guess is we're going to find a common multiple before we get there. So if I count by tens, I say 10, 20, 30, 40. And look, the other number we're looking for is 40. And 40 is my first multiple of this second number. So that is the least common multiple of the two. Okay. If I look for 3 and 10, well, let's count by threes. And notice in order for it to work with a 10, it has to end in a 0. So 10, 20, 30. Well, do I get a multiple of 3 before I get to that 30? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Notice 30 is my least common multiple. Okay, how about, let's try letter F, 6 and 18. Count by sixes, count by 18s, 6, 12, 18. Notice I get to the other number I'm trying to find the least common multiple of. So 18 is what they have in common. Okay, if I look at letter G, we have 6 and we have 8. So let's count by sixes, 6, 12, 18, 24. If I count by eights, 8, 16, 24. So what do they have in common? 24. That is how you find the least common multiple of two numbers. So today what I want you to do is I'm going to have you try a couple, but I don't want you to try them in the packet. I want you to actually grab lined paper, and you are going to find, and I want you to write this down, find the greatest common factor of, you're going to try 18 and 24, and then I also want you to try 9 and 27. So remember, these are the factors. So you're going to give me what times what is 18, what times what is 24, and then I want you to tell me the greatest common factor is of both numbers. Okay? Then, so this first part is factors. Write that down. Okay? Then I want you to find the least common multiple of, so we're going to find the multiples, okay, and I want you to find the least common multiples of 8 and 12, okay, so again, 8, 12, you'll count by 8s, count by 12s, then give me the least common multiple, and I want you to also try 6 and 5. So give me the multiples of 6, the multiples of 5, and then tell me the least common multiple. That is your job for today.